Greetings, dear viewer. You're watching Storytime with Red, a channel for those who believe in the strength of traditional family values and take a firm stand against infidelity. If that sounds like you, be sure to subscribe. Now, let's dive in. It was a quiet Sunday morning right at 9 o'clock when I found myself reflecting deeply on my marriage to Mia. We had shared our lives for 35 years in a modest but comfortable house just outside of town. The place wasn't large. A bedroom, a living room, and a garage that opened onto a wide terrace. We had space for 2 cars and my beloved motorcycle, which I often rode to clear my mind. That morning, Mia told me she had plans for Friday night. She mentioned it casually, saying she was going out on a date. That hit hard. Friday nights were always our time together, our routine, our small tradition. She explained the man was a co-worker from another branch of her company. He was having a birthday, and she was going to celebrate with him. She talked about how their friendship had evolved from occasional visits to coffee breaks and eventually shared lunches. Then during one of those afternoons, he dropped by her office to say goodbye and kissed her unexpectedly. I asked her, "And you just agreed to go out with him after that?" My voice probably revealed more than I wanted it to. She paused for a moment and admitted she might have given him a subtle sign that the kiss would be welcome, but it was just a kiss, she said, trying to downplay it. Still trying to keep calm, I asked, "Did you kiss him back?" She replied softly, "Yes." The next few nights were a blur of tense conversations. Every time we spoke about the dinner, she remained composed, but her calmness only made me feel worse. Then she admitted that there wasn't going to be any party at all. Just dinner, just the 2 of them. I felt my frustration rise. I asked bluntly, "Are you planning to sleep with him?" She didn't answer right away. That silence said more than anything she could have told me. Eventually she asked, "Why would you even think that?" I told her she seemed giddy, flushed, and excited. I reminded her of how she had complimented his looks more than once. She didn't deny it. "Yes, he's attractive. Yes, I'm excited," she said. Then she added that her flush was from rushing home to bake him a cake. It was already in the oven. A birthday cake. I couldn't remember the last time she baked one for me. She shot back, reminding me she always took me to my favorite restaurant for my birthday. Richard's divorced and wasn't even going to celebrate. She explained, "I just didn't want him to be alone." That didn't ease the knot in my stomach. I asked her if she even knew why he got divorced. She didn't. "We've never talked about it," she said, "but he's a good man." Finally, I told her I'd come along to the dinner. "Of course," she said. "No, it's a date," she said clearly and unapologetically. So again I asked, "Are you asleep with him?" Her tone was measured. "I'm not planning to." That didn't comfort me at all. "You know he wants to. That kiss wasn't just friendly. He's expecting something." "Michael," she said patiently, "just because he's a man doesn't mean I'll sleep with him. Men might hope for that, but it doesn't mean it'll happen." "Then you admit it's a possibility." I pushed. She said I was overreacting. "It's just dinner," she repeated. "I've had dinner with co-workers before. But not like this." I argued. "This man kissed you, and you're dressing up for him." "I'm going," she said, her voice firm. I lost my composure. "He's more than just a co-worker. He kissed you. You didn't stop him. You still never told me clearly that you're not going to sleep with him." She shrugged. "I'm not planning on it, but I can't promise it's impossible. It depends on how the evening goes." Her honesty stung more than any lie might have. I pressed on, painting out different scenarios. Would she sleep with him in the car, or maybe in a hotel room if the opportunity arose? She brushed off my sarcasm and told me she'd already called a cab for the next evening. "It'll be here at 7 o'clock, she said. "So you'll be free to drink without worrying about driving." I noted bitterly. She sighed. "Michael, stop. Yes, I might have whined, but I wouldn't drive even if I didn't. Why are you making this worse?" Just then, the oven timer went off. "Cake's done," she said, heading to the kitchen. "Maybe I'll have a slice," I muttered. "Don't touch it," she snapped. "It's just sponge cake. You don't even like it." That was a low blow, I admit it, but okay, I won't touch it. She transferred the cake to a cooling rack and murmured something about adding fresh cream. The next day, a cake box sat nearby, ready. "And don't even think about touching that box," she warned, glancing back at me. "I know what you're capable of." "I won't touch anything," I said, half amused, half hurt, and went back to the living room. I asked where the dinner was happening. "The Hilton," she answered. "Figures," I said with a dry laugh. "Let me guess, he booked a room, too." "Enough, Michael," she shouted. "Your jealousy is out of control. Richard didn't book a room. It's just dinner. But if you keep pushing, maybe I will sleep with him just to spite you." Her words stunned me. Then she added, "So here's the deal. If you stop with the comments, I'll be home by midnight. No drama. Then Saturday at 9 a.m. we talk. You'll have time to think. Whatever you decide, I'll accept it. If you want me to stop seeing him, I will." 9 a.m., I repeated. "Yes, Saturday. You decide what you want." "Fine," I said. "I'll eat early tomorrow and stay out of your way. But I have 2 conditions." She waited. "Go on." "First, I'll sleep in the guest room tonight, and I won't talk to you until Saturday morning. Second, if you sleep with him, our marriage is over." "Fair enough," she said without emotion. On Friday, Mia got home before I did. She was in the kitchen putting the final touches on the cake. The words, "Happy Birthday, Richard," were written in rich chocolate script. What stood out most were the little pink hearts decorating the sides. She greeted me briefly, but I said nothing and just stood in the doorway. While she stayed busy, I went to the guest room to change. Quietly, I slipped into our bedroom. In the bathroom, I noticed something was missing, an expensive bath oil I had recently gifted her. Gone. She was clearly planning to use it for a relaxing soak before her evening. On the bed, her outfit was already set out: a sleek black dress, black stockings with lace, black panties I had never seen before, a velvet choker with a small sparkling gem, but no bra. I stared at the carefully chosen ensemble, and a heavy silence settled in my chest. The space beneath the bed was telling. No sign of the towering high heels I knew she planned to wear. The curtains to the terrace were already closed. I locked the bedroom door, pocketed the key, and returned to the living room where the TV murmured softly. From the kitchen, I heard Mia's voice, casual and composed. "I'm going to get ready," she said, then added with a calm that felt rehearsed. "Michael, I understand you're upset, but there's nothing going on. By tomorrow, this will all be behind us." I gave a quiet nod, but inside, my thoughts were anything but calm. The moment she closed the bedroom door behind her, a surge of purpose took over. I moved to the garage and peeled the cover off my motorcycle. I took it with me to the terrace. From there, I could hear the bath running. She was already in the tub when the water stopped. I seized the window of silence, unlocked the bedroom with the terrace key, and slipped inside, spreading the motorcycle cover on the floor. I opened her wardrobe and began pulling everything down: clothes from hangers, the black dress from the bed, even the contents of her drawers. Her purse sat on top of the pile by the end. I closed the wardrobe, eyeing the outfit she had laid out: stockings, a choker, and those unmistakable heels. I couldn't leave her barefoot. Even fury has its boundaries. I found her phone in the purse, along with the usual contents: cash, cards. I discovered something that stopped me cold. Hidden in a sewn-in lining was a pack of contraceptives. We had never used any. I slipped them into my pocket. Everything else went into the trunk of the car. Her phone, too. I made a note of the taxi she'd scheduled. It was nearly 6:30, and the ride was due at 7 o'clock. I dialed the number. "Hello, I'd like to cancel the ride. My wife's come down with a cold," I said, lacing it with a dose of bitter humor. "No problem, sir. Thanks for letting us know," came the reply. Shortly after, I wheeled the bike out of the garage and fastened a cake box to the rear rack. To kill some time, I stopped at a small corner store. "Can I borrow a pen?" I asked. The cashier, a young woman, smiled knowingly and handed me a thick marker. "This happens more than you'd think," she said, on the back of a gaudy pink heart-covered card. I wrote, "Stay away from my wife, or this birthday will be your last." When I reached the hotel just before 7 o'clock, I spotted him through the restaurant window. He sat alone at a table, dark hair, red tie, a bottle of wine and 2 glasses, one untouched, wearing a rescue helmet, and holding the cake box. I approached the front desk. "Cake delivery for Mr. Thomas," I said steadily. The receptionist barely looked up before waving me through. He didn't recognize me. His eyes were puzzled as I sat across from him. "A special delivery from Mia," I said calmly, letting him feel the weight of uncertainty. I placed a napkin on my lap and opened the cake box, revealing a well-crafted dessert. But the real surprise wasn't sweet. Under the napkin, my hand gripped something hidden. "It's your birthday," I whispered, "and I have a gun. Say one word, and it'll be your last. Understand?" He nodded, his face turning ghost white. "I'm going to ask you a few questions. Mia has already answered them. Lie, and you won't make it out of this restaurant." His trembling worsened. "How many times have you slept with her?" "Never," he stammered. "I swear." "Not once. But you booked the room. So you were planning to—" "I wanted to," he admitted. "But it wasn't certain. The big question," I said, leaning in even closer. "Did Mia know you reserved that room?" His throat worked as he swallowed hard. "Yes," he muttered. I looked around. No one had noticed. You know how a man feels when he's betrayed? I asked, "You've got 2 choices. I shoot you and don't think I won't. Or," I lowered my voice, "you shove your face into this cake right now." Without hesitation, he did, face first into the cake, red tie drenched in cream. I slowly withdrew my hand from beneath the napkin. There had been no gun, only a plastic bag filled with cream. I squeezed it and more spilled onto his lap. "Well, Richard," I said cheerfully, "you got your cream pie right where you wanted it." I dropped the napkin beside the card, stood, and casually drank his wine before pouring the rest over his head. A few diners looked over, but no one said a thing. Back home, Mia was on the couch, wrapped in a robe, her hair damp from the bath. "What did you do, Michael?" she shouted. I simply held a finger to my lips. "Saturday, 9 o'clock. Then I went to bed. At 7 a.m. the next morning, I woke her by tossing a pile of her clothes onto the bed. "You locked the door," she said, stunned. I waved the second key, the one I'd used to sneak in through the terrace. Without speaking, I got on the bike and rode to the next town for breakfast. I returned at exactly 9. We sat at the table, the silence stretched tight. I set a large sharp cake knife down between us. She wore a plain tracksuit. "You look better in a dress," I said. "Maybe some stockings, a choker." She ignored the remark. "What else did you do last night besides stealing my clothes?" "I stopped by the hotel," I said casually. "Told Richard you wouldn't be coming. Gave him the cake you made. He loved it. Couldn't get enough." I slid her bag and phone across the table. "Oh," and I deleted his number. "You won't get it back until Wednesday." "I might get it back," she said quietly. "Let's not forget last week," I continued. "You insisted it was just dinner. Swore there was no hotel reservation. And now Richard booked a room. And from what I found, there's no way you didn't know." Then I dropped the hammer. "Tonight, I sleep in our room. You get the guest room. Divorce papers will be ready this week. And by the weekend, I want you gone." Her mouth fell open just like Richard's had. "I'm selling the house. You'll get nothing. No alimony, you'll manage." I paused, then muttered bitterly, "That's it, Michael." "Please," she started. "No," I cut in. "You thought I'd sit here while you run off with another man?" "We never. It doesn't matter." I said stockings, a thong, no bra. You said dinner would be an hour. The taxi was booked for 10. What were you doing for 3 hours? I pulled the 3 contraceptives from my pocket and pinned them to the table with the cake knife. "You can keep this table," I said. "You're a liar, a cheat. I regret spending 35 years on you." And that's where it ends. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe.